Welcome back and welcome to Fresh Perspectives. Our Jane Mane hostess here is Dr. Smita Siddhanti. Her guest today is Dr. Vibha Gupta. Let's join these two sharp doctors in conversation.
Namaskar. Welcome to Fresh Perspectives, a show that sheds light on ideas and efforts that change our individual decision making as well as those that are influencing the lives around us in the larger society. Today, I have a very special guest, Dr. Vibha Gupta, who is visiting from India, happens to be my one and only sister, who I'm extremely proud of, and she was on the show last time. So those of you who watched, this is a continuation of her efforts dedicated to changing rural economy in India. As we know, that largest segment of India, 80% of population in India lives in villages, and majority of them are dependent on agriculture. And it's an agro-based society, obviously changing in the last several years. We are trying to industrialize ourselves or go in even high-tech direction, but really the impact of development is felt only at a very high echelon of society. The lower large sector has not been touched. So some of us who are sympathetic to that cause really would like to hear from those who have made that effort. So Dr. Vibha Gupta, who is a PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Delhi, and economist from Delhi University, has dedicated her life for last 3 decades to this cause. And the last time we talked about your effort in women empowerment, rural entrepreneurship for women. And this time I'd like to focus a little bit on the other 2 aspects of, specifically the aspect of what are we doing for the agro society and how the industrialization is impacting that, and economically, environmentally, and sustainability in a larger. So Vibha, tell us about that.
I appreciate that you really concised it and put it in the right perspective. 2 segments that we were talking about. One was the artisans and the farmers. Regarding the artisans, as I told you, that this is now a whole sector which is in extreme crisis because of industrialization, opening of market to other countries which sell goods at very, very low prices, and which are into a total unconscious winning over the market, the Indian market of artisans. So it's a very challenging task how to save these artisans because they hold the culture, they hold the science, they hold the technology of manufacturing varieties of things which they could do with local resources with very little tools and workmanship, extremely good workmanship.
So this is a focus on artisans more than the farmers. So
yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
And this is a national movement which we are carrying called Rashtriya Karigar Panchayat, which is to support, to empower, and to make them more resourceful, and make the Indian community realize their roots in the artisanship of India. But it's a very, very difficult task because the opening of market means that you have to take the challenge of the dexterity and skills and the improvement in machinery that has come all over the world. So India has to gear itself up to the need of the market.
So maintain their skill set,
maintain
to improve their
upgrade.
skills and continue training the next generation in the skills that are lost.
Upgrade the skills, and where you need a lot of technical inputs from all your technological centers. But one painful area is the high suicide rates of farmers in India, especially the Vidarbha region, which I belong to, where we are working.
So to just elude our viewers, there has been a huge amount of farmers' suicide that has been happening. Farmers are killing themselves because they're cannot afford, affordability is zero almost, and cannot afford their farms, cannot afford due to whatever foreign forces and pesticides and increasing cost.
Right.
So for that, Vidarbha is the area where farmer suicide is the highest.
Right.
There are movies made on this, and that's the issue that is bringing to the front this whole issue of organic farming and your efforts in that direction.
Vidarbha region grows the highest amount of cotton in India, and the cotton takes the highest amount of pesticides. So the high input cost in the field is making creating deaths, unrelated diseases and death. So to get out of this whole cycle of death, disease and deaths, we had to create a new form of technology which make the farmers free from death, like they bring less as
resources. So it's less resource intensive.
Yeah, less
water, less pesticides.
Less pesticides. And so the farm input cost, as it reduces, it frees the farmers from debts. So we are trying to create organic farming as a movement where the farmers can create their own seeds, can make their own fertilizers, and they have the whole system of farming in a way that they have to put less pesticides. There's a natural pest control system built in the process of farming. And so at present we got around 2,500 farmers.
2,500 farmers are part of this organic movement in just Vidarbha region.
In Vidarbha region.
Vidarbha is only one part of Maharashtra, which is only one state in the large of India.
So Smita, our whole process was to at least show a model to our country, to our planning and policy people, that you can really go organic, because there's a whole...
So tell me, the yields have affected? Sorry, before we go. So the yield has become higher.
Yes.
Rather than, not only that they're able to afford their land and do the farming, their yield is much higher.
Yeah, a whole wave of BT cotton coming in, and farmers are not able to hold it because they're not technically trained, they don't have irrigation facilities, and they don't have technical know-how. So 87% farmers in Vidarbha were using BT cotton. And we realized that they're not going ahead. The whole presumption was the yield will increase and the pests will reduce. On the contrary, the pests have increased and the yield is reduced. So you can't say that any kind of technology you can just throw on the farmers, impose on the farmers. So here we first started with creating awareness about what's going wrong and why it's going wrong and what we should do. So indigenous seeds could be an alternative and whole process of farming. So at present, these 2,500 farmers are practicing organic farming, are taking the challenge of waiting for the organic produce to come.
Right.
And we are creating a new market for them. And one more thing that we, going back to the roots of Gandhi, that we started spinning this fabric of freedom, that we make these farmers grow organic cotton, make organic fabric, and have a market for organic fabric.
So organic dyes are part of that?
Organic dyes are part of that.
So the cloth that you make is, you're encouraging that whole cycle of production, from organic yarn to organic cotton to yarn to organic dyes to actually organic clothes in that sense.
Right. And the most beautiful part is the carbon footprints, that you're reducing the carbon footprint because you're growing it right there, you're using it right there. So from the raw material to the processed material, it is within the circle of 20-30 kilometers distance. So in that way you are impacting the farmers, because what they produce, they are able to sell right there, so get more prizes for it. And by conversion, you're bringing all the artisans into the fold. So the farmers are basically linked to the artisans and helping each other, which has never happened before, because the artisans were cut out from the farmers, from the producers, because between the producer and the consumer there were layers and layers of exchanges.
Right.
And every exchange was a process of exploitation. So here is a process that you directly lead from the farmer to the consumer, and then the farmer is enriched in the process. And with that, with the organic farming, we're also introducing organic cafeterias.
Right.
Where the farmer is linked with the people who, the food plate is really
directly
coming from the farmers. So that link is strengthening the organic movement, plus creating a healthy society.
And the awareness to people who are eating
Right.
healthier.
Because we had been in the process of consuming poison and creating poison. So somebody had to break the link, break this vicious circle. So here is the farmer, which is producing organic food, and the consumer who's creating market for them.
There are a lot of NGOs previously that were working towards that whole pesticides issue. Has been a very big problem in the world, in all developing countries. So freedom from that, and that is what is creating a lot of health issues in the population.
Yeah.
Is also
right.
the impetus to this.
Yes. One more sad thing which is happening is that the farmers, in the process of using chemicals all over and for pesticides, are also using huge amount of chemicals for weedicides. Like they are
for
basically
weeds.
Creating,
I see. So it's not just
weeds.
pesticides, but killing the weeds.
Weeds. And weeds were basically the green produce. All the green leafy vegetables and everything came from the farms because they were not using weedicides. So the women could get a lot of vegetables for the cattle, for themselves, for the children, and for the family from the farms. But now, because now with this, we can't stop this commercialization of farming. So what we're doing is making these women grow kitchen gardens. So now we have got 1,000 kitchen gardens, and every day they grow more and more. So this is a new intervention.
New concept to them, because kitchen garden was never a concept in villages. Mm-hmm. So associated with organic farming, associated with organic
small
cafeteria.
organic farms which are happening in the house, and there we are creating indigenous organic seeds. So these small kitchen gardens are becoming a source of organic seeds for the farmers.
Talking about seeds, aren't you also collecting all kinds of indigenous seeds?
Yeah.
Like a seed bank of indigenous,
Right.
because a lot of species are disappearing.
Absolutely.
And that itself is a big contribution. So it's all related to not only.
You're absolutely right. We are creating a whole seed movement called Beej Daan. So all the farmers collect the seeds, and we store them and teach them how to store indigenous seeds, because the multinational companies' monopoly over the seeds are going to
Right.
kill the freedom of the farmers and also our food security
Dependence.
problem.
The big food security issue.
Problem is going to be created. So the seed thing which you just brought out is a very, very important issue.
Now, given the short period of time, there's a lot to talk about, but I wanted to make sure that you shed light on at least the issues that you're working with, and how we can all help here to get you to where you all want to go. It's a national effort, so if you need to connect with Vibha, her email is vibha@womentech.org, and I will be happy to be a conduit to that. I'm smithasiddhanti@gmail.com. Be happy to talk more further about that. So really wish you all the best in the venture not many people in the world are doing, dedicating their lives towards this big cause. So thank you again, and thank you for listening. I hope this did increase our awareness to work that's going on in India. So once again, thank you. Hope to see you next time. Namaskar.